during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Appt.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. You can reach us at 954-717-7027. And good news, we're actually hiring. So LPNs, RNs, physical therapists, speech therapists, please call our HR department. You can speak to Andrea Rodriguez, 954-717-7027. And please come see us on November the 8th. We actually are at the Healthcare Job Fair in Plantation, right at the Community Rec Building, 9151 Northwest 2nd Street, right there in Plantation, Florida, 33324. And today I'm excited to introduce everybody to Dr. Zaki Moyenda, right here in Lake Worth. He is at 220 South Dixie Highway, Suite 4, Lake Worth, Florida, 33460. You can reach him at 954-774-1414, and that's Moyenda Medical at gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Moyenda.
Thank you, Louise. Very nice to be here once again.
We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because we know how busy doctors are, and you wear a lot of hats, I imagine.
Yes, indeed.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you don't mind, let me just take an
Sure.
opportunity. It's probably my 5th time being on the show, and I want to extend great warm-felt thanks to everybody at All County, John Kelly, Peter Kaplan, yourself, Delroy. It's very nice. This platform helps us to let everyone know what we're doing. So it's an honor to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Dr. Moyenda, can you share with our audience a little bit more about your background, where'd you study, go to school, and a little bit more about that?
Absolutely.
Beginnings?
So I'm a family medicine provider, board certified by the American Board of Family Medicine. I did my medical training in the Caribbean, American University of Antigua.
Nice.
And I did my residency training at Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. They had a joint partnership with Vanderbilt University, so we did our pediatric training there as well.
Oh, nice.
And so I've been here practicing in South Florida for almost 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
As John mentioned prior to the show, most of it has been in hospital medicine, and branched out last August with Moyenda Medical Associates. So very excited about that, and look forward to sharing with the audience where we are now currently.
So what made you want to go from being a hospitalist to transition into your own practice? What was the catalyst for that?
Many things. I will say initially, I'm a family medicine doctor, and like a real family, old-time family doctor, in the sense that we spend a lot of time with our patients. We go over things, we see them, we practice what we call precision medicine. We don't take every patient and look at who they are socioeconomically, what they do for a living, where they live, their financial status, everything, as well as their clinical status, and tailor our treatment plan and education of their clinical conditions accordingly. And I love the follow-up. And so hospital medicine, although it's exciting, you get to treat acute illnesses, and the pace of it is very fast, it doesn't offer the opportunity to give that intense follow-up and discussions that patients often need. particularly here in Palm Beach County, where the demographics of our patients are the elderly over 65 years of age, where they need more time to go over their medications. They're on a lot of medications
Yes.
to begin with.
Yes.
And so oftentimes we don't have that time afforded to us in the hospital. And so that was one of the big impetus is to give more high quality patient care. So that having my own office allows me and my staff to do that.
What I love about precision medicine is, to me, it seems that you're getting, it's more well-rounded and you're getting more to the root cause of the problem. And it sounds like, if I can infer, that you actually are wanting to spend enough time with them to help them to create the changes. Am I assuming correctly that you want to create
Yes,
those changes?
100%. So I don't want to make it seem like we spend an enormous amount of time, because we still in the
Sure,
outpatient
understand.
setting don't have that much time. Where in my home visits, which hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about that
Yes,
later,
yeah.
because I actually do home visits. That's a hallmark of my practice, to be honest, that we have a little bit more time there. But what I found is that our challenge as clinicians is to be able to maximize 10 minutes. 15 minutes is an enormous amount of time, but we have to explain very complex things in a short period of time in such a way that the patient understands what it is. And so that's very important. I can't stress it enough, because if the patients don't understand their diagnosis, they won't appreciate the need to follow the treatment plan, whether it be the treatment plan may be taking medications every day, following up with their specialists, following up with the dietary changes or other lifestyle modifications. And so we need to empower them. And the best way to do that is to have a conversation, explain things in detail. And there's a lot of motivation involved in doing so. So in the absence of that, if you tell someone, for instance, when we diagnose high blood pressure all the time as a first diagnosis, or diabetes, hey, by the way, you have diabetes, that's a shocker.
Yes.
Well, here's a script for a medication, take this twice a day, and we'll see you back. You can imagine they're shocked to the system. The likelihood of them complying with that treatment plan, if you could call it that, is very low. They're not going to get better. And then you're going to have to come back and spend that time anyway, you know, if they come back. And so what we found is to be very proactive in discussing things up front. And that way you don't have to do it so much later on, you know.
Are you finding that a lot of these are lifestyle modifications that maybe high blood pressure or diabetes that can be, with effective lifestyle changes, that can be reduced?
100%.
A lot? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We have our success stories for
You
sure.
do. Wonderful.
There's a lab test, and the clinicians out there will know it, and people with diabetes may know it, but for those who are not clinically adept to these things, there's a blood test called the hemoglobin A1C.
Yes.
And it's a number that is diagnostic of diabetes if it reaches 6.5 or over.
Okay.
And so that would diagnose you with diabetes, and therefore you would need to be on a medication, alter your diet, etc. And the clinical guidelines, for instance, say that if your hemoglobin A1C is above 9, you should be on insulin. So we've actually had people with hemoglobin A1Cs 13 and 14.
Wow.
Really. And we recheck this value every 3 months. And so we had a couple of patients, one in particular, a man who was probably in his late 40s, came in, bad diet, fast food all the time, bad cholesterol levels were high. His hemoglobin A1C was just under 14. I believe it was like 13.6.
Yeah.
Insulin scares people. They think it's a death sentence. So I said, well, we won't put you on insulin, but if you do this, we'll come back 3 months if you follow the treatment plan. And he did. He was very regimented about his diet. He started a little exercise. He took the oral medications as prescribed.
Nice.
And literally when he came back, his A1C was 6.5.
Wow.
Right there at the cutoff.
That's
and so
amazing.
it's doable. But again, it's doable with explaining to them what it is, what
Yes.
diabetes is, the
Yes.
importance of taking the medication. And I'm not shy to scare my patients.
I think that's good,
Yeah,
Dr. Moyenda,
because,
because sometimes we need to
yes,
wake up as a
100%,
patient,
yes.
and that'll do it.
Yes, because diabetes is a known cause of blindness. It's a high risk factor for heart attacks. Put you at risk for kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, and ultimately kidney failure, being put on dialysis. And limb ischemia and amputations. These are at the end result of foregone non-compliance. So I throw that in there as an incentive to follow the treatment plan now, and you won't have to worry about any of those sequelae.
Tough love. Sometimes
Yes,
we need that as a
absolutely.
patient, because a lot of these things with a healthy lifestyle and exercise and eating right and whatever else you recommend,
Yes.
I would imagine would help the patient, you know.
Yes.
So what's the demographic that comes to your, what's the age range, I should say, that comes to your clinic?
We see primarily adult medicine,
Okay.
anywhere from 16 up. I am family medicine, so I am trained to see children, but I only see them for very basic things.
Sure.
But mostly it's adults. Yes.
And what about insurance? What types of insurance are you accepting?
So we are on multiple plans, the most prominent of which is all the Blue Cross products, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna and Aetna, Medicare and Medicaid, of course, and United and Humana for the PPO options, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now you were mentioning something about concierge house calls.
Yes.
Are you starting to do that?
Yes. Well, I've been doing home visits from the time I finished residency training.
Nice.
And I'm formulating it now. It's an integral part of the business plan. Seeing patients in the SNFs, skilled nursing facilities, and long-term care facilities, and ALF. So that's to augment my our home office in downtown Lake Worth. So a lot of these patients, as you know, when they leave the facility from rehab, they may have had a broken hip, they're rehabbing it, knee surgery, etc. So they're still not ready to be fully functioning in terms of mobility, and sometimes transportation is a problem. And so we offer transitional care management from these facilities when they go home. And they love this, you know, and I love it as well, because a lot of things can be missed. And as a primary care provider, medication reconciliation is very big, huge, because one doctor, if they go to the hospital, they get started on one medication, other medications are stopped. A lot of them are on multiple medicines, so they need to be explained what they are. Sometimes we can take some of those off. So yes, home visits has been something that we're picking up, quite frankly.
Good.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to You and Your Doctor. Again, we are right here in All County, we are hiring. So if you know anybody who's an RN, LPN, physical therapist, occupational therapist, please get in touch with us. Speak to Andrea Rodriguez at 954-717-7027. Come see us at the Healthcare Job Fair, Wednesday, November the 8th from 9 to 2. Right here in Plantation Central Park at the Community Rec Building, 9151 Northwest 2nd Street, Plantation, Florida. And we have again with us back Dr. Zaki Moyenda, and he is at 220 South Dixie Highway, Suite 4, Lake Worth, Florida, 33460. You can reach him at 954-774-1414, Moyenda Medical at gmail.com. And let me tell you the office hours, because I'm happy. I was happy to see you have weekends too. So yeah. Monday through Friday from 8 to 6, and then by appointment on Saturday and Sunday. So that's great, because a lot of people are wanting, you know, what if I'm not feeling well? I want to go see my doctor. I don't want to go to urgent care, or I don't want to go to, you know.
Yes, yes.
So
our Saturday hours are very popular. As you said, a lot of people are working through the week.
Yeah.
Hard to find time off, so we do a lot of our blood draws in the office on Saturday mornings.
Oh, you do the blood draws
yes,
there.
We do them on site.
That makes it easier.
Yes, absolutely. So they don't have to worry about waiting in line at Quest or any of the LabCorp places. We can set them up and do it there. We also do EKGs also in the office. So Saturday mornings are quite popular for us.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And so getting back to the home visits, because
yes.
I did want to say, and we mentioned that, or you mentioned that COVID prompted this
yes.
home visit, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, we found that. Let me share with you. Yesterday we did a home visit, and I want you to imagine this, and our audience to imagine this, because what we found is that people are in real need of help. Imagine this. There's a lady there. She's probably in her 90s. Intellectually and cognitively, she's very much intact, but she has mobility problems. She moves around gingerly with a walker, and she has urinary incontinence. And she was put on a diuretic with no monitoring. That's a water pill. So she's voiding on herself. Now, she's in the house with her daughter, who's probably in her 70s, with severe MS, and she's not able to get up and move. Just those two in the house alone.
Yeah.
Really.
That's rough.
And so with the benefits that they have, they only have private duty for just a few hours during the day.
Okay.
And when we went there to see them, it was coming on the end of the shift, and that was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So now from 3 in the afternoon for the rest of the night, these two women, mother and daughter, with chronic debilitating conditions, are there taking care of one another.
That's rough.
Very rough. So although it's something that I like personally, what we're finding is that there's another component to it. It's very sad. These people are probably going to end up having to go into a long-term care facility. But I just mentioned that for there is a strong need for it, and then also to highlight the human factor.
Thank you.
The human factor with what we do. It's not just treating illnesses. We're talking about people who have real lives. And so so it weighs on the heart sometimes.
I agree, but having a doctor go in there and taking a look to see, you're able to observe, okay, this is what they need. Maybe your voice is the one that they'll listen to when you say, you know what, this is probably the next step for you.
Yes.
And so
yes.
It's something that's necessary and needed,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And you get to see their lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about, I know you're into wellness and you're into proactively keeping people healthy. So what can you speak into about that?
Excuse me. Well, yes, it sort of starts at home, right?
Yes.
So I've been trying to get myself back in shape, and so it's easier to do that when you're doing it yourself. So I'm not
So
quite there
true.
yet, but the concept of being well in terms of your spirit, your mind, your body, eating the right things, understanding what you need to do proactively to avoid illness is very important, because all it takes is being sick, down with the flu. Some people had COVID. You break a bone, then you realize just how valuable your health was. You're missing work, you're missing valuable time with your friends and family. If you're a parent, you're missing time with your kids. So it's better, just like you would have a financial plan, right? You want to make sure that you have your resources in the right way. We're recommending having a comprehensive health plan for yourself. So to that end, we are going to be having personalized vitamins coming out shortly. There's a company called Vitamin Lab out in I believe they're in Washington, Seattle, Washington, somewhere out in the West Coast, where we can test our blood. I know we've been talking about it, but we're really at that point now where we're going to start having vitamins and minerals to help with depression, even with increased energy and the like, and certain nutritional deficiencies. We find that vitamin D is a big...
I was just going to ask you about that.
We've actually added vitamin D to our panel of routine labs, and inevitably we're finding at least 50% need to be on some level of replacement, whether it be over-the-counter replacement or treatment dose replacement. So all of these things we're trying to implement into our practice. We're going to get into IV hydration as well at some point.
Nice.
Right.
Because, you know, as we age, I've read that we don't synthesize the vitamin D3 as well as we used to when we were kids. So vitamin D3 is so imperative. For is it imperative for our
calcium absorption, bone health, etc. Yeah, very, very important.
Healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I read during COVID so many people were vitamin D3 deficient.
Yes, because of it being inside, lack of sun exposure. And this vitamin D is one of the fat-soluble vitamins that is not produced in the body, so you have to get it from exogenous sources, the sun being the main one, and then also from the diet. Yes.
Well, I like that because you're going to be, you do the labs at your location, so you'll be able to do a panel maybe and see which nutrients or...
Exactly. Instead of taking the standard multivitamin that has the same amount of each mineral or vitamin and treating it across the board, you may not be deficient in zinc, for instance, or magnesium, but I may be. And so we can formulate it with a multivitamin that has increased amount of magnesium, for instance, for you if that's what you need. So it's going to be tailored for you.
Oh, so it's like a prescribed vitamin.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, yes. And then we can retest it later to see if your levels have come up.
Okay, so that's really good because not only are you treating the patient, you're making sure if they have any type of illnesses, but now you're being proactive on the wellness part.
Right.
So we have 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes left. Can you share with the audience, besides that, what would you prescribe as a wellness routine, or what would you think would be good for someone who's starting out saying, I need to start, what do I do? Well,
very good question. So I like to think of, just like every person should have purpose, goals, right, and character, you know,
so
our
important.
businesses should be that way too. And I think it all starts with a plan. And so, and the mindset. Have it in their mind that this is something that not only do I want to do, that I really need to do this. That's the most important thing. We're coming upon the end of the year. You'll see everyone will start having New Year's resolutions. They'll have all these plans. And not to discourage anyone, what typically happens about 2 to 3 weeks in. And so I think it was Stephen Covey, the 7 good habits of highly successful. Yeah, start with the end in mind. And really take the time out to really sit down and think about why is this you want to do what you want to do, envision it, and go through those processes so that when the plan is developed, you will be prepared for the winter season that's going to come. It'll be some difficulties because a plan is no good if you don't activate it. And there's no one size fits all. So I can't emphasize that enough, is the mental component, which is part of being well too, is the mindset. You know, a lot of people talk about mental health, but they're really talking about mental illness. Right? When we talk about depression, bipolar, etc., those are mental illnesses. But mental health is when you feel vibrant, you feel a sense of vigor, you know, confident, and you have energy and things like that. You have love in your life. These are all mental health statuses. So That's what the number one thing, in my opinion, to start with that. Then you can get into the specifics of what you should eat, because that has to do with your body chemistry, what your preferences are, what type of exercise plan you would like, because everyone likes to do different things. Those are the granular details. But my opinion is to have that strong mindset. Is there something you want to do, and put some purpose behind it? And I believe you'll be able to reach your goals.
Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. Yeah. Please reach out to Dr. Moyenda, 954-717-7027. And don't forget about our health fair, November 8th in Plantation. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week with you and your doctor. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
It's always nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show,